Good evening, this is Nimba Ramirez from Unit5 International Business. Let's start. To understand the next slices, we need to go through the trading association trade barriers to international trade. Let's start with the trade associations, which are agreements between countries to promote trade and economic cooperation. Their main objective is to reduce or eliminate the barriers to trade. And in the other hand, we have four different trade barriers, which are obstacles that countries impose on international trade in order to protect their economy, the local industry, or national security. These ones can be tariff barriers, no tariff barriers, voluntary export restrictions, and as well the exchange rate or monetary barriers. In this case, we are going to use Amazon as an example. As we know, Amazon is one of the largest e-commerce companies operating globally, with millions and millions of sellers and buyers, as a large and complex logistic network. Their international success depends largely on trade policies that facilitate or restrict the movement of goods, service, and data. In this context, trade associations and international trade barriers play a key role uh, as they can boost or hinder their ability to expand, sell, and compete in a foreign market. Now let's go with the Amazon and international trades. As I mentioned before, Amazon is a large multinational company with operation in dozens of countries. It's a business model based on the sales of physical and digital products, logistic and storage, and cloud service, which is the Amazon Web Service. To operate globally, Amazon depends on the free movements of goods, service, and data between countries. We have the impact of trade associations on Amazon. The first one is the e-commerce facilities. Um, a free trade zone and ability agreements allow Amazon to reduce import and export costs in established regional logistics centers and expand its new works of international sellers. Then the second one in this same point is the cross-border, which the investment are agreements that protect foreign direct investment and allow Amazon to establish warehouse, offices, and logistics service in the region. Then we can move to the impact of trade barriers on Amazon. The first one is the tariffs and fees. The tariffs fees are forcing to Amazon to adjust its supply chain, redirecting the purchases and revalue prices to remain competitions. And this same point, we have the regulation and the technical barriers. The regulation and the technical barriers is basically the security standards which label or digital can be label or digital content may prevent certain products from being sold in certain countries. Then at the end we have the restriction on data and cloud service. As I mentioned before, Amazon use the Amazon Web Service. In some countries can for example can be such as India, Germany, Mexico. Uh, just to mention some example, these cities data must be stored locally, forcing Amazon to create data centers only specifically for each region. Now we need to talk about the key trade associations and their main functions. We have some key partnership from Amazon, which is the USMCA, the European Union, and of course we have some bilateral agreements. The first one, as I mentioned, is from USA between Mexico and Canada, which allows Amazon to operate fulfillment centers importing tariffs free and manage returns in a more easy way to North America. For the European Union side, as a common market, it allows to Amazon to sell freely in multiple countries from warehouse located in between Germany and Asia. And as well, we have the bilateral agreements, such as those signs between us and between the USA and Asia, facilitating the movements to technology, the good, and the consuming products. We have these trade partnership are agreements between countries. As I mentioned before, for example, the USA, Mexico, and Canada can be, for example, only in the European side or maybe the Asia side. This is designed to promote trade by reducing or eliminating barriers, protecting investment, and establishment with common rules. Its main functions are to eliminate or reduce tariffs, also to establish common standards, can be for example technical, sanitary, and others. As we all ask to facilitate foreign directions, investments, and also to be able to protect intellectual property and also improve regularity transparency. Now we have the free trade zone. A free trade zone is an association where countries eliminate international trade barriers, but each maintain its trade policy toward their parties. Now, for example, under the USMCA, as I mentioned before, USA, Mexico, Canada, Amazon can import products from the USA to Mexico and Canada without paying tariffs. It can also ship products from its fulfillment centers in one of these countries to the other between any barriers. This reduces the logistic cost and improves delivery in an efficiency way, which is a key to its fast delivery as a promise. The impact of trade associations, we can also have a good benefits. In Amazon, we have an expand market access, reducing cost, logistic optimization, and the facilitation of digital service trades. Now, the expand the expanded market access, which is more easily reflected in regions with trade agreements. In the reduced cost, this is a tariff and duties lowered, making its products more competitive. And in the logistic optimization in this side, allowing Amazon to establish strategies warehouse in member countries and distribute without any restriction. And as well, we have the facilitation of trade in digital service, such as Amazon web service, which benefits from agreements that protect the cross-border flow of data. Now, let's understand the trade barriers and their types. But first of all, trade barriers are restrictions that make trade between countries difficult or a bit more expensive. This can be a tariff based or not tariff based. The tariff can be import taxes. For example, from USA product impose some tariffs on Mexican products. And of course, we have the no tariffs. Can be, for example, import cost, which is a limit quantity, the technical or the sanitary standards with some specific requirements and certification safety, and as well restriction on foreign ownership. Countries that limit investment companies like Amazon in this case. Now we have the impact of trade barriers or international trade for Amazon. This can also have a negative effect. such as increased costs where tariff is applying and mainly to Chinese products affect Amazon price and the margin. We have as well the change in the supply chain, which Amazon sometimes has to re- rerun routes or seek new suppliers due to barriers. And as well, we have the strict local regulation. For example, in India, this large company face limitation on operation as a direct seller, which unfortunately reduce its control over the inventory. And as well, we have the data law in countries like, for example, China and Russia, which require that the city's data be stored locally for any Amazon websites to invest in additional infrastructure. As a conclusion for this PVT, Amazon, as a key player in global trade, is deeply affected by both the trade association and the trade barriers. Free trade agreements have been fundamental to its international expansion and efficiency, allowing it to sell products or services, offer services in multiple countries at a low cost. However, the trade barriers, whether tariff, technical regulation, or a digital restrictions, represent cost changes that Amazon must overcome through the innovation, the legal adaptation, and the global logistic strategies. In this environment, the ability to quickly adapt to international regulatory change is key to maintain its globally in leadership as an Amazon. Thank you and have a wonderful night.